Thank you. Good evening. I'm responsible for sustainable development at Société Générale, which means a lot of things. It means, first of all, that since I had this position, I went from the electric car, etc. Have I renovated my house or my apartment? Well, I've started doing all these changes to be durable. To be sustainable. I eat less meat. I've gotten an electric car. Now I'm looking at the question of renovation. So that's the expertise I have. My colleagues have more than me, of course. I see that since I've gotten here, I've come into a real group of people who are involved in renovation. You know that we are working with decarbonization, we're working with steel, aluminum, but you know the big subject is real estate. I think that you know that we have more than 10% in the country are CO2 emissions linked to the real estate. And here, the way we renovate housing to preserve energy is a real issue here. There are many other things that need to look at. It's clear we need to be more sober and intelligent in our consumption today. You know, there was an experiment called Atelier 2 tons at Société Générale. We look at how we go from 10 tons of CO2 per person in France to 2 tons of CO2 per person by 2050. Here, first of all, one of the most important elements is the heating in our homes. That represents about 20% alongside of mobility, consumption, etc. But those 2 tons should go to zero point 0.2 tons by 2050. That's a reduction of a factor of 10 of CO2. And this implies a complete and efficient renovation. Everyone is concerned. No one can be left by the wayside. You've heard this said over and over. And when you work with the decarbonization of a portfolio of a bank like ours, at the beginning, you know, we are theoretical at the beginning. But you know, for example, we decide we need to stop financing the energy, the fossil energy producers. We should stop financing such and such an activity, etc. It's not easy. The most complex portfolio is by far the residential real estate. It's very different, it's very complicated, as you explained, for the homeowners themselves to deal with them. And so here, you know, people say, oh, but the banks aren't lending money. Okay, but but often you have no customers who call us to finance this renovation because it's costly, it's destructive. I listen to you talk about the various solutions and the pain points. When I renovate my house, I need to find another housing for 2 months. Now, you know, if someone has a place for me, give me your contact points. Now, you know, we talk of something which is collective and very relevant for all of us. Now, in the local solutions, do I house those people who have accepted to leave their homes for a complete renovation project of their home? It's not easy. So that's what I was saying in parentheses, and I'll leave you my contact details. So it's also difficult to do because sometimes we see the benefit from the cost point of view, but you know, so the house is a bit renovated. You've spent a lot of money, but you haven't acquired anything great. We haven't you know, done anything extraordinary. So there's a human factor that needs to be identified as well. So you have the carrot and stick approach, but it's not yet totally clear. For the bank, for the CO2, it's not just CO2 that we're interested in life, but it is one of the main work points. You know that when you look at your portfolio, you need to look at it. It's very complex and difficult when you want to decarbonate it. and you have to find allies for that purpose. Here, I must say, we are delighted to have some of you as partners. There is no other solution than to work together to try to put together the financing that will work and which will help homeowners to manage the difficulties that you have mentioned here. Otherwise, there will never be a request for a loan or renovation work done. Consequently, we need to work with all of you, of course. This is an enormous market that we're talking about. It generates a certain degree of interest, indeed. Sometimes we have risks that need to be managed for the customers to find something simpler because otherwise we will continue to have difficulties. So I'm delighted that I came today and listened to all of you because we are indeed faced with something which is extremely complex. But there is a great deal of innovation, a great deal of creativity, a lot of solutions proposed, and we hope that we will be able to advance on these subjects. The question of creating the financing is a good idea with an increase in the loans themselves. That's good. It creates a great deal of enthusiasm. I and we are very happy to have become part of the SERAFIN team. We're very interested in the projects that have been mentioned. And here I'm going to make a transition towards Françoise, who I'm going to invite to come here to conclude. I'd like to really pay tribute to her for her ingenuity. I met Françoise 25 years ago. She's someone who always was 10 years ahead in terms of her thinking. We worked on the public-private financing. At the time, the law didn't even exist, but she was convinced. And then 10, 12 years ago, she left us, and she left with the idea that we need to work on the subject that has brought all of you here today. Now, I would never have imagined to what extent the subject at hand is such a major stake in terms of the economy, in terms of resilience, in terms of all of the subjects you've mentioned here. So I wanted to congratulate you on your ingenuity, your resilience, and for having this community around you with all of these solutions. I think it's great. I wish you a very pleasant evening. Thank you. Well, I'm blushing, I see. Well, I too am very happy with today's work. I think that everyone now is a bit tired. I think that now we need to think about a bit of rest. And many things have been said here today. I've been really, really moved by your words, Hacina, because your conclusion, quite rightly, is that we need to come together to find the solutions. The European projects are difficult to obtain, but once we get them, well, it does enable us to have the possibility of bringing here in this auditorium representatives from Spain, Hungary, Ireland, Germany, Belgium, Italy, etc. And so that in itself is extremely European, and we are European thanks to this project. It's obvious that this is a lever and this ingenious idea. When I left the bank, when I left the bank, I thought that maybe in 2 years' time, the problem would be solved. But no, because you know that things changed in the interval, but I'm still here because we have this European project. The fact that we are listened to by the generations of civil servants who are extremely motivated by this subject and by the different state agencies, etc. Well, we are here, and the idea is that everyone can work on these projects. There is no competition here. It's a question of bringing the subject forward. And I think that today we have shown that this is possible. And my dearest wish is that we continue to have this type of day to show how collectively we will make the subject move forward. It's not a question of massifying. Massification is not the subject. Housing is each and everyone's individual element. Thank you very much to all of you. A great word of thanks to the SESE teams who have helped us all day. Thank you to the Prod production. They're going to produce a 2-3 minute film, two films, in fact, that will be summaries of today's work. I'd like to thank the caterers. I'd like to thank all of the young people who've taken a day to come and host us. I thank all of them because their involvement was very good. Thank you to all of the speakers who spent this day to accompany us. I hope that they enchanted you, that they informed you as well. We'll see you again next year. Thank you for your energy. Thank you to all of you.